When my uncles and my father came in to see this property, there was no road. They actually came in on a camel to see this property.
No way.
Yes. So there were no roads over here. There was one Lokhandwala complex which was getting developed, and there was nothing in and around.
So much about Excel sheets and FSI, and it is difficult, right, to make projects financially viable. Do you think that kind of makes design less important now?
You know, losing an FSI is losing one part of your heart, right? At least for Mumbai developers. I think when we did Shantinagar, we were the largest in Asia to develop a colony of 15,000 apartments. And since it was like absolutely nothing, we had to get water from about 16 to 18 kilometers away from our site. We actually dug up the road all the way from the highway on the Western Express Highway on the other side of the Thane and got this water pipeline to our project.
The premiums in Mumbai are 50 times Hyderabad, 47 times Bangalore, 25 times Delhi, and 9 times Chennai and Pune. How is that justified?
So we've always told the government, and we've been, that is why we brought out this report which showed the hard facts. Today, if I look at those premiums which have been collected, it's about 5,000-6,000 crores a year. When the premium discounts were there in 21-22,
Right.
that went up to 15,000 crores or 14,000 crores at that point in time. Some places the cost of construction is lower than the premiums.
Speaking of a high ticket size, we just witnessed something extraordinary. I think 2,80,000 rupees per square foot, 640 crores for an apartment in Worli. Do you see that becoming the new normal in Mumbai's luxury market?
There will be one or two odd, but not all. It's like a limited edition apartment, right?
Right.
When you buy a watch,
Right.
you have a normal watch and you have a limited edition watch, right?
If you could change one government policy to make Mumbai real estate better, what would it be?
Bring in the ease of doing business. Because today you have to take 140, 150 approvals.
It's ridiculous.
Why? You don't require 140 approvals.
Hi guys, I'm super excited about this episode of the Real Estate Show with Mayank because today we have one of the fastest growing and one of the biggest developers in our country. They have over 3 generations. They have a legacy of about 55 years. They're listed players on the NSE with a market cap of 3,500 crores and their sales numbers was around 1,080 crores last financial year. Let me introduce to you Mr. Dhaval Ajmera of Ajmera Realty. Sir, what a pleasure to have you here. And, I know you're an extremely busy person. So thank you so much for taking out this time and having a conversation with us. And we love to pick your brains and learn a lot from you. And I think every person who is a budding, whether you're an agent, whether you're a real estate professional or a aspiring developer, do not skip this episode.
Thank you, Mayank. It is always a pleasure talking to you. We've been interacting a lot over many real estate forums, doing one-on-one. I'm quite excited, so let's have this show because I think real estate is something, it's been in our blood. As we know, we are 3 generations of business or family being in this business, grown from a partnership company to a listed limited company, from a limited to a private limited to a listed entity. So that's been a growth journey for us. And we are quite excited, and real estate is like in our blood and it's in our passion, so it comes in both ways. So super happy to
you're
interact.
also the vice president of CREDAI National and the secretary of CREDAI MCHI. I believe one of the youngest, right, to have got this position. So
Yeah.
absolute pleasure to having to interact with you, and I think we'll take back a lot of notes with us by the end of it. Just one thing, just a small thing from our side.
Oh,
It's a part of our green initiative.
thank you.
And this is something that I wrote
Okay.
about real estate. Would love to get your critique on this book.
Okay.
How
Thank
to
you
buy-
so much.
And this.
Oh my God, there's one more
We
thing.
know how fit you are, right? About your your marathons in Barcelona.
Yeah.
You're extremely fit. So these are all fitness goods.
Thank you so
Protein
much.
and all vegan.
Oh, nice.
Vegan protein goods.
Thank you so much for this lovely gift. I'll definitely treasure this, and since you've said it, it's healthy and for my runs and it'll help my runs. So thank you so much.
So how did Ajmera begin? Right, 55 years of legacy. I'm sure you all must have seen so many phases. That's 5.5 decades. How did it all start?
So well, it started, when my uncle, my father and all, there were 7 brothers. My uncle, our late chairman, Chotu Bhai Ajmera, he was a visionary, and he came into Mumbai, and all his brothers came into Mumbai and doing jobs. He came into Mumbai and he started doing some jobs in a steel company. From there, he became a contractor, and from a contractor, he took up some sites for development. And that's how the journey actually started, from a single building. So I must tell you that even at that point in time, in the 70s and 60s and 70s and 80s, we've taken lands and developed 5,000 apartments, 15,000 apartments. I think when we did Shanti Nagar, we were the largest in Asia to develop a colony of 15,000 apartments at one point in time in one land. That's how the journey started. We did a lot of township projects, and that's what we were known for. Yogi Nagar in Borivali, Shastri Nagar in Andheri, Manish Nagar in Four Bungalows, Mira Road, Shanti Nagar, Vijay Nagar in Andheri East. So these were some of the few projects which were done, executed at that point in time. I remember, my father telling me that during 1985, when we started the Shanti Nagar project, there were no construction equipments what we have now, and the facility what we have, but still they developed and delivered about 10 lakh square feet a year at that point in time, with I think 40 buildings constructing together, and 30-40 buildings constructing together every day, 1 or 2 slabs coming in. The tiles were manufactured there, the doors were manufactured there. There was actually no rules regulation in Mira Road at that point in time. And we as a company decided that we will follow the town planning norms of Mumbai. And even though we were not averse to do it, but we thought that since there are expert and town planners, and why should we not follow what they have actually done? They're doing it for a city of Mumbai, then why not continue doing that? So we actually followed the same norms of Mumbai, even though we didn't have to, in terms of open spaces, in terms of roads, regulations, all of that. Obviously, water is the main criteria where we require for such projects. And since it was like absolutely nothing, we had to get water from about 16 to 18 kilometers away from our site. So we actually dug up the road all the way from the highway, on the Western Express Highway, on the other side of the Thane, and got this water pipeline to our project, because water is something which you really require for a project to become successful. So back in those days, about 40 years ago, to dig up a 18-kilometer water pipeline was one of the biggest challenge, and but that became the highlight, and then the entire project became a big success over there.
I think 40 years ago, digging 16, 18 kilometers, I think was unheard of in that area.
Absolutely unheard of.
For you, how did real estate happen? Did you always know you'll get into real estate, or how did you get into the family business?
So, I obviously was always inclined towards, getting into family business. And at that point in time, we had 2 lines of business. One was our real estate, which we had started, and the other one was we also had a steel factory. So we were into manufacturing of color-coated sheets, what we see all the boundary walls and what we see on the roofings. We were manufacturing that. We were also into galvanized steel and all of that. So there were 2 thoughts, and then it was always, I was very inclined. So my family used to always tell me that during my vacations, during my college vacations, I used to go to my factory and also go to the site. And then slowly I started getting more inclined towards real estate, and then that's how I chose real estate and got into it.
Now you've done an MBA, right? MBA from UK.
Right.
How has that helped you in scale your business?
Well, obviously MBA has helped me in scaling my business, because it gives you a larger and a bigger perspective, number one. Number two, what I really thought was 22 years ago when I did my MBA, obviously Mumbai and India was growing, and when we look at the world from the outside perspective and what things are actually happening abroad and what things really move around, I think it opens a lot of your mind, and it gives you a different thought process about how do you want to take up your business and where do you want your brand to be, where do you want your projects to be, where do you want your company to be growing at a certain level. So I think bigger size, larger volumes was something which really opened up our eyes when we look at projects across around. And then when you are interacting with people around, and when you study in a different college, and you're away from your home environment and the comfort zone, I think it helps you grow from a boy to a man.
Interesting. And did it make you more organized and structured? That you try to add that structure to your company?
I would say it gave me a lot of perspective to look things differently than what probably a normal functioning of a company looks like, a real estate company looks like. At the same time, you interact with a lot of business houses or family, because a lot of Indians are also being studying there. So someone will be from a textile industry, someone will be from a diamond industry, someone will be from some other industries. So it gives you a different perspective about how family businesses think alike in different industries, and what are the things which you can probably procure in your own business and try to expand or grow. So that was something which really helped. And obviously studying MBA was looking at corporate strategy, looking at HR policies and everything, which obviously when we were in our college days never studied so much, but it took a different perspective and helped me in some or the other way to grow in the business.
Nice. Speaking of growth and scale, right now, people always, at least I'll give you my example. People always told me that, earning your first 1 crore is the most difficult thing. Once you achieve that, then, life is very easy. And I think that's absolutely wrong, at least from my perspective, because everybody talks about 0 to 1. Nobody talks about how difficult 1 is to 100. Scalability.
Correct.
Right? It's since your sales revenues, you're looking at 1,080 crores, right? Last financial year, right? So obviously, back in the day, you were a 100 crore company.
Correct.
Right? So I just want to know your journey, like how you all have scaled it, right? From a 100 crore sales company to now a 1,000 crore sales company. Okay. I want to know the history of how that happened. What did you think of? How did it scale? And what's the next steps to scale from, a 1,000 crore company to perhaps a 10,000 crore sales company?
So, Mayank, it's interesting. You're right. There are two difficult parts in this entire journey. When you say 0 to 100 is the most difficult one, then it's like 0 to 1 crore is very, very difficult. Reaching from 1 to 100 is the time where you are organizing, scaling, growing, expanding. And then probably from 100 to 1,000 is something where you have set processes and then you are moving. So it's like struggle, then organize, and then grow. That's how probably I look at this journey as. But yes, it's not easy. And especially in business of real estate. We are very lucky that now over the last 20 years, real estate has become very professional. Real estate have become very organized. But if you go back in those times, 20-25 years ago, it was not an easy business. No land in Mumbai, I would say, would come clean. Even if you feel it is clean, there will be some or the other problem. There will be regulation changes, there will be regulatory changes coming in, some approval changes coming in, and your project suddenly goes for a toss. You have to stop the work, and there were times when environment laws were invented or probably got into place in 2005. I remember 2005, 6 or 7 when the environment laws came in, and suddenly all work stopped, which was there. It just stopped. Unless and until you don't have an environment permission, you can't work. And that to get that permission, it took us 1-2 years. Obviously, it was initial years at that point in time. Everyone was learning, everyone was doing. So these are the challenges which always come in a real estate business. Thanks to RERA, thanks to GST, thanks to so many where the processes where government has come in, things are becoming streamlined, but it still has its own challenges. So coming back to the thing, what we really see is that we know that when we, with 55 years of business and so many people and with so much of experience when we have in hand, the one advantage what we really stand by is that when we say that these challenges will come in real estate, you have to be prepared for it, number one. Number two, you don't, as we say, don't lay your eggs in one basket. So you're not concentrating on doing one project, right? You are concentrating on doing at least 5, 10 or probably 20 projects. Obviously everyone has their own capacity to do it, but when you are doing 10, 12 projects at the same time, maybe 1, 2, 3 will get stuck, but the other 7 will continue to churn around the business and the cash flows. Because cash flow management, project management are the prime in any business, and primarily more in real estate, when I would say, because unless you are not, thanks to RERA now, you have to be cash flow specific to a project. But if you manage your cash flows well, I think you'll be very successful in a project. So in a real estate business. So my take is, obviously look at expansion, look at scalability, which will help you, diversify or probably reduce the risk of uncertainties which are coming into the business. But at the same time, scalability comes with a brand. If you are a brand, or if you have been successful in delivering, like we've delivered 45,000 apartments, it becomes easier for us to take 10 projects at a time. And we today we look at scalability, not in size, but in area. So like I would not mind doing probably even a 1 lakh square feet project or a 10 lakh square feet project. And if it is at 3 different locations or 10 different locations, so you're reducing your risk of market, you're reducing the risk of uncertainties in approvals, you're reducing everything, and then you are actually hedging it with different projects being done. So that's how you grow. And with that growth, 0 to 100 is a biggest struggle. When you become from 100 to 1000, that's the time when you are actually organizing, you're putting all your experience of all the mistakes what you did from 0 to 100 in that 100 to 1000. And from 1000, as you said, the next 10,000 is the time for scale, is the time for expanding. So now we as Ajmeras, we've finished that struggle. We've also finished that, I would say, and that all those teething issues which can help you. And I think it's time for us, and then that's where we are looking at growth. And with this growth, we come with, for us, when we have like 16 members of the family running the real estate business, although we are a listed entity, we are hands-on as family and professional. It's a great mix, I would say, in our organization, where a family member and a professional are working together for the growth of the company or the project. And with that, I think scalability is where we are big time looking at. We were back in about 4-5 years ago, we were about 6-7 projects. Today we are 17 or 18 projects working with that same time. And we aspire to continue to make this at least 50 projects in the coming years. With the given land parcels and the projects what we are currently doing, we want to grow in a better and a faster pace.
Nice. Now, speaking of expansion, you all are also expanding into other cities and even other countries, right? I heard London is happening and Bahrain is happening, if I'm not mistaken. Now, given the hyper-local nature of real estate in general, right? You spoke of regulations. Regulations obviously change state-wise, and I would assume that trends change pin code-wise. Right? They're so hyper-local. So how do you address this challenge when you expand into other cities? Do you tie up with regional players there? What is your process like?
So, when I would say during the time of 2010 to 2020, real estate has gone through a lot of transformation. RERA, demonetization, GST, ILFS crisis, started with the Lehman Brothers crisis. I think every stage there was a challenge which was coming in real estate. And Mumbai, if I have to look at the growth scenario, what Mumbai is witnessing growth now, I think the most between 2010 to 2020, Mumbai was growing, but I think Bangalore, Chennai, Ahmedabad, NCR, they were growing even more faster than what Mumbai was growing. Most importantly, because infrastructure projects was not taking place as planned.
Right.
There were delays, there were things, but I think in that phase in time, we thought that with the kind of family members what we have and with the kind of growth what we can do, we started looking at expansion in different cities. So we moved to Bangalore. Even though we've been very successful, we've delivered about 3,000-4,000 apartments in Bangalore. Recently we just completed 20 years in operations in Bangalore. We did some projects in Ahmedabad, we did some projects in London and Bahrain. And then slowly post 2020, post COVID, we've then scaled it back to, because then Mumbai started getting its more importance. Mumbai became the fastest growing city in India, and it is still the fastest growing city in India. Today Mumbai and MMR contribute to 1/3 of the entire real estate volume which is happening in the entire India. So we thought this is our home ground. Post COVID, people's importance for home has significantly improved. The love for Mumbai, which was the sheen which had gone away, is coming back. So this is an opportunity for us to grow in our own city, and with the brand which has grown in this city, why not take it better? So obviously we finished about 4-5 projects in London. Bahrain, we did some project, but then we sold that project to someone else. And then from 2020 onwards, we are obviously expanding, but in a larger way in Mumbai and Bangalore and Pune, these 3 cities.
Right.
Yeah.
And these days, of course, most builders want to be asset light, do JVs with landowners. So how do you structure a deal with a landowner in a JV? Is there a thumb rule, like from revenue split to the processes to some certain pointers in a joint venture development agreement? How would you structure your JV?
So our always belief has been partnership has to be, it's like a marriage. If you have you have your like a wife or a husband which you have as a life partner, and you have a business partner. So a business partner is equivalent to the commitment what you give to your wife or husband. That is what you need to give to your business partner as well. If you are successfully doing that, I think no amount of business can stop you, no amount of partnership can ever, because today at the end of all whatever we do, I think empathy, trust and being together is the success of any partnership firm. So we've been partners with a lot of joint venture partners with us in our other different projects, and we have been on since 30-40 years, and there has been no issues. So today we partnered with few people in the project from the time we started till the time the project ended. There simply no issues. So these are partnerships. But even if I look at landlords, so today if our entire Bangalore model where we do, I think 90% or 95% of our projects have been under JDAs, where the landlord is the owner of the land.
Right.
And we have developed those properties, and so if you stick to your commitments, if you stick to what you have actually told, and obviously you expect the landlord to give you a clean land, which is his first job. And when your title's been scrutinized, and then today landlords are smart enough, thanks to the tech world, they understand what projects you've done. They can see from the Googles of the world, find out about your company, and then it's like that connect when you meet the landlord and you give that kind of comfort. And we've had successful partnerships and joint ventures in Bangalore over the last 20 years. I think we must have done, if I'm not mistaken, at least 12 to 15 projects with different landlords, and delivered before time than what we had committed. There has been no issues. We worked over all these projects, and so if you commit, if you stick to your commitments, if you give before time, and the quality is right, I think you can, the world is yours, and that's how you've been there. So primarily in Bangalore, I would say a lot of joint development works. In Mumbai, a lot of joint venture works. So where you probably, because people want to take some advantage of the valuation of the land which is expanded or grown, they would want some cash out at initial, and then they would look at a partnership. So you work out your mathematics the way, even in Mumbai, like we started one project in Ghatkopar. It was a commercial project, and then very successfully, the comfort was there thankfully between us and the landlord, very well. He never interfered about any of the decisions what we took, and in 2 years time we handed over the project back, and everyone stays happy. So I think every city has its own dynamics. As I said, Bangalore works more into joint developments, where you are more into area share or the revenue share. Mumbai is more into revenue share and or joint venture, where you value the land and probably give him certain money upfront, and then you do a joint venture. So every city works in a different dynamics and different ways. You have to adjust to what you are eventually. When you are looking at any of these joint developments or ventures, your intent should be very clean, that I am not here to squeeze the other side of the party. I'm here to earn my money, and I should also ensure that I'm making the other party, he's put in that trust in me that today if he's getting the land value at 100 rupees, the reason why he's joining hands with me is that he'll get 120 or 130.
Right.
If I'm not able to give him that, why would he want to join hands, right? So if that is something which is assured to him, or probably done by your intent, I don't think there will be a challenge at all.
Right. So trust and commitment.
Absolutely.
Basically. Right. Now, what is your land acquisition strategy and a project acquisition strategy? Apart from the feasibility reports, right? Do you trust your gut? Is there, like, sometimes you see a land and you vibe with it, and there's that entrepreneurial gut that comes. Okay, I think we should explore that, and then obviously the feasibility reports happen. I just want to understand from you, how is it very mathematical, or is there some emotion involved in identifying a new project opportunity as well?
Well, real estate is always about gut.
Wow.
I must tell you. See, today, obviously, when you look at math numbers, everyone will look at. There is no doubt about it. But it's that vibe, as you rightly said. I'll give you an example, and it's very old. So, like the place where we are sitting here.
Right.
This land, when was bought, I'm talking 40-45 years ago, and these are stories which I have heard. When my uncles and my father came in to see this property, there was no road. They actually came in on a camel to see this property. Yes. So there were no roads over here. There was one Lokhandwala complex which was getting developed, and there was nothing in and around.
My God.
So when they came to see, there was no road, there was no infrastructure. यहाँ पे road आएगा, ये बनने वाला है. That was obviously the thing. So that's how real estate is done. It's a gut that, okay, you come in a camel without any infrastructure, but this
That's
will
incredible.
be...
One would have never imagined that someone would have seen this such a good location on a camel just 45 years ago,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Wow, incredible.
So that's how the land was bought. Like, this land was bought at that point in time. So again, even now, obviously we are very lucky that we have the best of the cars available to travel. But even today, when you look at land, there is a lot of obviously mathematics is something which you definitely is the primemost thing which everyone will look at. But at the same time, every real estate project, I feel, is something where you can add value. If let's say there are 3 projects in line and everyone is doing buildings, there should be something very different what you bring in from your company, which probably the others are not. That's something which you need to work out and come in. So every time when we buy a property or do a redevelopment or something, we look at things which can be very, very different than what probably is not available in the market. So like when we took the Juhu property for redevelopment, our whole intent and idea was that in Juhu, every project is surrounding each other, next to the buildings are very near to each other, and that is a norm and it's acceptable, right? So, but we want to do something different. Luckily for us, it was a corner property. We designed the apartments in such a way that every apartment gets a view which is unobstructed. obviously in terms of road. So there is the biggest view which anyone can get, or the most view which anyone can get was possible, and that is what we brought in. Even that meant that we had to lose about 5,000-7,000 square feet of FSI, which was okay with us, but we wanted to ensure that every apartment gets a great view, which probably a next building will not have, or probably the next building will see into each other. We did not want that to happen. So that's the uniqueness what we always try to bring into our projects. In every other, some other project will have something else, so we try to bring in something which is very different than what is available in the market. And with that, with the pricing, the brand, and the most important, the underground, is the vibe that when you land in that property, do you feel that positive vibration showing that I can create a landmark here.
Interesting. So you do go by the gut.
Absolutely.
Lovely. Now you spoke of differentiating a particular product. Now, do you think with time, right? Because Bombay's seen so much construction. I think 40 years ago, a clubhouse would have been very new and unheard of. Amenities in the building would have been so unheard of 20, 25 years ago. Now, every builder has a clubhouse, will have amenities, have podiums. That's the new normal, right? So do you think it's harder for a developer to disrupt a product now, because a lot of things are getting standardized now? Do you think it's like much harder to do that?
Yeah, it is, because it's like when you look at an iPhone, iPhone comes in iPhone 12, iPhone 13, 14, 15, 16. What is new in it? There is nothing. And how much can an iPhone actually bring in new, right? So it's the same way. Real estate has evolved, as you rightly said. 30 years ago when we built a clubhouse, we had a grand party that there is a clubhouse in the project, right? And obviously a swimming pool in the project. I remember 30, 40 years ago, probably in the entire city of Mumbai, there were 3 or 4 buildings that had swimming pool in the project, right? Now, and today every building has a swimming pool. So that's the new normal which has started coming in. So when you take up a project, you need to do, as I said, you need to bring in something which is very different from what actually is available in the market. Apart from making the best houses, the best amenities, you need to come up. It becomes very, very challenging that what can you actually do different. So you have to apply. Like, I'm just giving you one of the other example. We are doing a project in Warsaw. It's a building, like it's a redevelopment of a building, but we are trying to bring in a forest, a forest house or forest theme in that thing, where a forest walk actually, where probably it's not there all across. So it's something which you need to come out, which is not there. So you have to rack your brains to see to it that what is it there and not there, and what I can actually do. Like sustainable homes is something which we are really working on. Green homes, sustainable homes is something which we are trying to work out for all of our projects, and come out with some of the other different amenities than what probably it's not available in any other project, and bring in that differentiator.
Right. You said, I really like you said that you let go of about 5,000 to 6,000 square foot just to make sure in Juhu that too.
Yeah.
Right. Do developers do that in general, like letting go of FSI? Because I feel like Bombay's so much about Excel sheets and FSI, and it is difficult, right, to make projects financially viable. Do you think that, like, since most people are obsessed about FSI, do you think that kind of makes design less important now? And it's like a cookie cutter building bana do, FSI consume hona chahiye, and we need to just sell it. So I really like you said you let go of 6,000 square foot in Juhu.
अभी ऐसा है कि if I have to look at why is everyone, and especially in Mumbai, why is everyone so much averse? I would say this, that losing an FSI is losing one part of your heart, right? At least for Mumbai developers. And this I would say probably 3-4 years ago, but not now. And I'll tell you a reason why. Mumbai FSI is related to cost of premiums. Okay. Right. Today premiums in Mumbai, versus premiums in Bangalore versus premium in Delhi or wherever you call it. I'll give you a small example. For my own project, I did a working where, when I did the costing of a project of a 5-acre property, which gave me 5 lakh square feet in Bangalore, all my premiums put together was 40 rupees a square feet. Okay, apart from the land cost and the construction cost, or 40 or 50 rupees or 75 rupees maximum a square feet. Now that same thing when I do it in Mumbai, obviously depending upon the suburb and the location, it will be minimum 5 to 8,000 rupees a square feet.
My God.
So you understand where the delta is, right?
Right.
And today the cost of the land is dependent upon the FSI what you can consume, and that is why people cannot afford to give away those kind of FSI. But thanks to DCPR and now the availability of FSI, earlier FSI in Mumbai was 1.85, then it went to 2, and today now it's about 4, 5 and 6, and Madas is 7 and whatever you can do it. So now you have abundance of FSI. When you have abundance of FSI, you can afford to let loose, and many developers will let loose. They will not let loose because ultimately, as you rightly said, if I want to consume the entire FSI, I have no choice but to make a cookie cutter building. I don't care about the elevation, I don't care about the amenity, I don't care about the open space. I need to, मेरे को हर एक square foot तो निकालना है इसमें से. But then now developers beyond certain time, they will also think, boss, I also need to look out my name. ये asset मेरे नाम पे खड़ी रहेगी. People will look at what have I actually built. So they will let go some FSI. They will let go to ensure things. They will give some FSI in the amenity. They will give some FSI in the lobby. These are all small things which really matter today to a public at large. So you have to go with it. And that is why when I say that when you have these kind of premiums, you can't afford to lose give away FSI. But when some things like in Mahada, SRA, when these FSIs are little cheaper than BMC, you can let go here and there.
Right. In fact, I think it was your report only, the CREDA MCHI report. I'd gone through that report of yours, and as per that report, I still remember the premiums in Mumbai are 50 times 50 times Hyderabad, 47 times Bangalore, 25 times Delhi, and 9 times Chennai and Pune. How is that justified? How is that justified? What is your take on that? So is CREDA as a body pushing the government to kind of reduce it?
No, we've always told the government, and we've been, that is why we brought out this report, which showed the hard fact that, Mumbai, eventually today, you how much are you collecting as premiums, right? So today, if I look at those premiums which have been collected, it's about 5,000-6,000 crores a year, right? Roughly, give or take. When the premium discounts were there in 21, 22,
right,
that went up to 15,000 crores or 14,000 crores at that point in time. So when you look at those kind of collections coming in, but it actually, makes the project extremely expensive. Today, some places the cost of construction is lower than the premiums.
Right.
And, cities, places like Bandra, places like Juhu, your premium costs are much, much higher than your cost of construction.
Right.
Or probably the minimum is equivalent to your cost of construction.
Right.
But it cannot be where your premiums are lower than cost of construction. Right. So, it plays a major part of your project cost. And I personally believe that, we should get away with that. Today, if I look at Bangalore, it's a simple road with FSI. If you are in a larger road width, you have 3 FSI or 4 FSI, you have 2.5 FSI, 2.7. Simple. It's like land into 3. Utna multiply karo, itna FSI. You're not paying any premiums for it.
Right.
You have to leave that kind of open space and this and that, and certain fire charges, this, that, what you pay and all of that, and that is it. But you don't pay fungible FSI, you don't pay premium, you don't pay TDR, you don't do all of that.
Right.
Obviously, TDR now is there in Bangalore, which increases the cost, but it also increases the FSI.
Right.
So, I mean, the other components, there is an open space deficiency,
right,
and there is this and that. I think it's time for us in Mumbai to come out of it and but it's a very hard call for the government also, because it is involving money and premiums which will be lost, and
Right.
but I think if I have to negate this, that okay, you may be probably losing that revenue of FSI or premiums which are coming in, but you imagine the kind of housing stock which will come in, which will give you a permanent income from your property tax,
Right.
which will give you an income from the GST while it is under construction,
Right.
during construction GST,
Right.
and you will also get 18% of the construction cost as GST.
Right.
You will get 5% stamp duty.
Right.
You will get 5% GST on the sales of the flat.
Right.
So it's a great income which is coming in. But
Right.
it's a, somewhere, if we can negate this and the government comes in, it'll make Mumbai, obviously with the kind of supply which is already there, it'll be even better supply. But it with Mumbai's dream and aspirations for people to stay in Mumbai, it'll become even more realistic, and people will really long to come here.
Yeah, I think you rightly pointed out, like with your direct, indirect taxes, your GST, your stamp duty, your premiums, almost looks like a government is a sleeping partner in a project.
Yeah, easily 50%.
50%
minimum.
My God. And coming to supply, there are a lot of redevelopments happening in Bombay right now. Do you see a drastic increase in the supply in Mumbai?
So yes, there's a lot of development happening in Mumbai, but at the same time, I feel over the last 5-6 years, the economy of India has changed dramatically. People's aspiration to look into bigger apartments post COVID has been one of the bigger norm by real estate has thrived and grown well so much. Any typically today for a redevelopment, my gut sense is that 20% minimum at least goes from the actual, like the tenants themselves, they want to expand and grow. Unless if there is and mostly in a standard case where they are getting an extra area, they wouldn't mind spending some more money and getting a little more space.
Right.
So 10, 15, 20% goes into the own consumption from the tenants.
Right.
And then you're left with probably 70-80% which you have to sell outside. I think while although a lot of redevelopments are taking place in every suburban city, suburbs of the Mumbai, the output of those projects is not, in terms of volume, not much. So let's say a project will have 20 apartments coming in, or probably 15 or 30 apartments in all total coming in. So, and if I, in a city or in a suburb of Bandra, hypothetically, there are 200 projects going in. So
Right.
overall the volume is 500 or 600 apartments.
Right.
So which according to me is not much, but obviously the sizes and the
The ticket size is
ticket
so high.
size is so high that sometimes you wonder that are there really 80-90 crore, 500 buyers of 80-90 crores.
In fact, just speaking of a high ticket size, we just witnessed something extraordinary. I think 2,80,000 rupees per square foot, 640 crores for an apartment in Worli. Do you see that becoming the new normal in Mumbai's luxury market? A rate of above 2 lakh rupees per square foot?
I wish it happens, but see, look, luxury has no limit. It's your
Well
perception and your thought which you feel that I need to pay this price. There will be few projects will definitely command because of the location, because of the gentry which is staying in that probably building or the complex, whatever you call it. And if these kind of things will continue to happen, but with few projects, I don't think
Right.
280 is a sustainable price in Worli for all,
Right.
all across. There will be one or two odd, but not all. So it's like it's like a limited edition apartment, right?
Right.
When you buy a watch,
Right.
you have a normal watch and you have a limited edition watch, right? So
Right.
normal watch has its own price,
Right.
but then there is a limited edition.
You'll have your Patek Philippe and it's like that.
Those
yeah.
limited edition, even in Patek Philippe. So you'll have a normal Patek Philippe,
And then
you'll have a limited edition Patek
Right.
Philippe. So that price of limited edition is something which
Right.
anyone will have to pay, and whoever wants to buy will take it up. So there'll be few, but not all.
Now, from an execution point of view, how would you differentiate between constructing a uber luxury project versus an affordable housing project? What's the, from an execution point of view, what all parameters do you look at between the two?
Look, most important, obviously, as we said, some things are given. So, the concrete, the plaster, the cement, the foundations are absolutely
Right.
non-compromisable. You
Right.
don't compromise at all. Then, when you look at uber luxury, what is it that actually changes the project between a luxury and affordable? Is A, the size of the apartments,
Right.
B, the amenities within the apartment, and the amenities outside.
Right.
I think these are the three biggest parameters which actually change the entire outlook of the project. And it is given when you look at luxury project, right? You look at openness, you look at larger apartments, you look at probably very, very high amenities, internal amenities, versus probably an affordable housing. So you may give a marble to a luxury project as a
Right.
flooring, and you'll give a tiles, right, to an affordable housing project. So that's something which you will have to differentiate, and you look at it. But it's most important is the planning, the openness, which comes in with these kind of apartments, because in an affordable housing what happens is there are more number of apartments
Right.
in a given land size, and in a luxury project there are less number of apartments in the same given size,
Right.
but the size of the apartments are larger. So
Right.
that's the biggest differentiator, I feel.
Right. I think well pointed out. Certain things, like you said, are non-negotiable.
Absolutely.
A certain construction quality
Yeah,
you have to
you
give.
can't.
Right.
There is no differentiation between anything like that. Even if I do an SRA building, or if
Right.
I do a rehab building, or if I do my own redevelopment building or a sale building, some things are absolutely non-compromising.
Right. Do you have a favorite type of project to construct as Ajmera Realty? Like, what do you like constructing?
For us, obviously, real estate is been part and parcel of it. We've grown from probably doing larger townships to luxury projects to uber luxury projects. We've grown that journey,
Right.
and now we've been doing those projects parallelly. Also, then I might do a luxury project, I might do an uber luxury project, I might also do an affordable project or mid luxury project. So it depends upon the genre and the size and the location of the apartment or the project. But I think for us, the sweet spot has always been the 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, and 4 bedroom apartments.
Ah,
Yeah.
right.
So we've probably kind of, I would say, mastered that art. One of our MD, he goes too much details into looking at the bathroom should be 3 inches bigger from here. The bedroom should be 2 inches or 4 inches like this.
Right.
So he goes into every niche and every corner, and that's what we do in terms of our projects. That's where we try to bring in more efficiency in the apartment than probably I would say from our competitors, and we be really proud of it. So if I look at Ajmera projects, if I give a 700 square feet carpet, the usable 700 will be more than probably somewhere else. So we believe a lot in doing wherever possible, and I think we probably be a 95% strike rate in that.
That's how you differentiate, like what we
Yes.
spoke.
Yeah.
Lovely. Now, how do you see real estate evolve in terms of what asset classes within real estate will become more popular according to you? Like, for example, I think 5-6 years ago we saw warehousing was the blue-eyed boy for a lot of companies in terms of rental yield and things like that. What is your take? Do you see like a co-living, becoming popular, co-living coming back in, that hostel living, I think that's becoming popular, SM REITs now? What is your take on which asset class do you think you are most bullish on in the next 10 years?
So my take is, if you see, real estate has evolved a lot, and the kind of inventions or things coming up in real estate has been phenomenally great. So when I say inventions is that earlier it was only commercial, residential, retail और हॉस्पिटैलिटी, ये चार
Right.
था, मतलब उसके आगे कोई पांचवा नहीं था.
Right.
अभी आप देखो तो वेयर हाउसिंग है,
Right.
then there is data center,
हाँ, yeah.
then there is what do you call, co-working, then there is everything. So
Right.
there is co-living which is
Co-living.
coming in. So my sense is the biggest I feel the most successful will be the SM, REIT,
Right.
which will change the world. And I have seen that, there were private, in one of our projects, at least 5-6 years ago, there were companies which had come in and bought a larger size of, an office complex from us, or a office unit from us, and then they sold it as a fractional ownership to
Right.
100 people.
Right.
And when I heard that concept for the first time, I was like, are you really for real? And he explained to me the concept, and I said, this will definitely work.
Right.
Why? Because my aspiration to get in a grade A building, right, for that I require 30 crores
Right.
of, or whatever that value may be, or 100 crores or whatever it is. I require that much of money. I don't have that money, but I aspire to be there.
Right.
So can I get a heart of it, like a piece of it?
Right.
And I'll pay 1 crore, I'm okay.
Right.
If it's an 100 crore asset, I'm okay being 1/100th of the owner, but I own
Own that.
something there. So
Right.
that changes the entire thing. So that is where you see this REIT. Why do you think they are so successful? Because A, getting a grade A building, commercial building, in probably may not be available for every common man, or it may be for some investors or some companies or some funds. But let's say a common man wants to invest and he can do it in 25 lakhs, why not?
Yeah.
So that's something which will change the entire outlook about real estate in a very, very big way. So small SM rating or REIT will be something which I feel will be great. And my sense is this will now come in like the fractional ownership, which is right now in commercial, which is doing great. Hopefully someday, while it is doing great, which gives about 7-8% return or whatever it is.
Right.
Today, the problem in residential is that the return yields is about 1.5% or 2% max, right? So someday when those returns or yields come to 4-5%, I think the fractional ownership in residential will come in a very big way, and that will change the market forever. Yeah.
What is your take on holiday home? Because there are no big boys, as you know, as we have in first homes, right?
Correct.
The big boys. Holiday home segment is kind of still premature, So have you thought about entering holiday homes?
Well, not as a complete priority, I would say. But yes, our thought is to expand in different modes of real estate. Maybe, one good thing which I've seen and what I feel will continue doing is plotting. So I think that will grow in a very, very big way. We've seen successful, some developers, doing it very, very successfully. And I feel that's the place where we as a company should grow. As a brand, it will help you in a very, very big way. So yeah, that's something which will go. So coming back to holiday homes, there are two thoughts to it, but my personal belief is that somewhere, for us as Indians, roti, kapda, makan is something which all of us want to aspire and have in our lives.
Right.
So one bit of makan, it will be there. Now I have grown in life and got my own house. I have got my own office. I have got my own rented space, which gives me an asset.
Right.
Then I will look at an holiday home where I will go and enjoy in my retirement time, or probably gift it to my children whenever I want to. So yes, holiday homes are growing because people, at the same time, the other thought comes in that, okay, if I want to enjoy, probably there are best of hotels and everything available. I can go in, but I think this segment will be there. But after, as a person's life, when he's grown in these segments of securing their own asset at home where he's working, an office, if he is into a business, a rented income which is giving him stable money for their day-to-day household and everything, then the fourth step will be to go in for a holiday home. So yes, it will grow, but I don't think it will grow at probably a residential space or a
because it's a second priority.
Yes,
in the
it's
end.
a second priority.
Right. And we've seen, I think COVID was a big
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a
boost
big push
for holiday homes. People
Absolutely.
wanted bigger homes, garden close to nature.
Correct.
So I think that was
So yeah, cities like Mumbai, cities like Bangalore, cities like Delhi, where there is too much of urbanization which is there. I think Pune, those kind of cities and surrounding that, holiday homes will be a great value. Because today, if I have to look somebody in a city of Mumbai, they are packed with traffic, they're packed with probably pollution, they're in everything, there's so much of hustle bustle which is happening. Somewhere you need to slow down, and if you need to slow down, you need to have go somewhere else. So yeah, I think those big cities and surrounding places will have a great demand for holiday home. But I don't think a city like Raipur would have a holiday home, So
yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. So satellite towns near a major city.
Absolutely.
Right. Now, what are home buyers demanding nowadays that they weren't demanding 10 years ago?
A lot of things. Thanks to technology. So today, home, obviously, as when we said earlier, clubhouses and gyms and all this are given that you have to give, swimming pools, obviously depending upon the size of the plot and everything of the project. But I think smarter homes is most important.
Like in terms of automation?
And it's just not automation, but it's everything, the way you design your homes. The other most important thing I believe will come in play is the sustainable homes, the green homes. So what I mean to say is that, can you bring in sustainability to the project by probably having your STP plants, your water recycling plants, your electricity cost going down by solar plants, something like that, which gives you a long term benefit and not just a short term benefit. I think those will come a lot into play now. People will prefer to have कि भाई मेरे को long term में इसका फ़ायदा मिलता है कि मेरे को कम पैसा भरने का है मेरे maintenance के लिए, because I'm getting free water, free electric, some part of it as free, not all. Right. So those kind of, and plus when the kind of facade what you use, the kind of sun shading what you use, which brings down your electricity cost, which brings down your overall cost of living. I think those will be something which, so long term, where your cost of living is coming down versus, if there is a scientific comparative which is shown, I think that will be of a great help.
Right. Now, when there are site visits, right, for apartments, what do the Gen Z want, right, versus the parents? And how can a builder adapt to what a Gen Z probably wants? Because they are micro influencers within the family.
Correct.
Ki papa ye ghar kharido. Right. So what do you think, according to you, a Gen Z wants today in a house?
So very, very frankly, any project, my belief is, there are two ways to look at it. A project with amenities, a project with facilities,
right,
will be in a great demand versus a single building. मतलब आप सिंगल बिल्डिंग में भी अमेनिटी नहीं दोगे, भले आपके पास एक फ्लोर आपको सैक्रिफाइस करना पड़े और उसको अमेनिटी में कन्वर्ट करना पड़े, तो आप कीजिए, नहीं तो दैट बिल्डिंग विल नॉट गो. टुडे द जेन ज़ी इज नॉट रेडी टू probably take an apartment without any amenity. Right. You have to have some kind of, like even if, like I'm just giving an example of our Juhu project, it's a 1,000 square meter plot. Okay.
Right.
And now in that we have given a swimming pool, we've given a gym, we've given a walking area, we've given a cafeteria, we've given a yoga deck, we've given everything. So like in a single building.
1,000 square meter plot, right.
So somewhere we've sacrificed some of the FSI.
Right.
Somewhere we've done all of that, because unless and until you don't do all of this, your project will not attract to a Gen Z, or even to probably, and you need to cater. Today your family is not just you and you and your wife, or you and your husband. Your family is your children, your family is your parents. So we are still rooted as Indian culture, where you probably want to stay along with your parents, or probably your parents near you. So or probably maybe together, maybe 1-2 floors up and down, or whatever, something like that. So when you are looking at all of this, you look at the as, will my father or mother like this? Will my children like this? They have to think in a rational perspective and not just my own perspective. So these are some things which we look at when we do those kind of projects. So again, coming back, amenities is the biggest
thing,
factor which you need to look into.
Right. Now, what is one overlooked thing? Sometimes people take certain things in a building for granted, and they overlook the things that they should not be overlooking. What is the most one underrated thing, according to you, in a building that customers often overlook? See, amenities तो दिखता है, right? you walk in, there'll be a beautiful walkway to the sales office, amenities and all that. That's the show.
Huh.
What is this one underrated thing that flies under the radar, that customers overlook, and they should not overlook that?
It's something where we as developers look, but as I said, that concrete when you're doing the construction in terms of foundation, in terms of plastering, concreting and RCC structure work, I think that is something which probably is not looked by the customers.
The hardcore civil work.
It's not looked by the customers so much because it's too technical for them to understand, because it's not their fault also, but
Right.
I feel somewhere with a naked eye you can come to know that okay, this quality looks good. It should give you that feel that no, the construction what is happening is giving a good feel, right? That much also I think when the building is under construction, as a customer you should look at the RCC
And
work.
be able to tell that this looks...
You can't get into very technical. I don't blame anyone because it's
Right.
too technical, but at least from the face of it, when you see the construction looking good, I think that is something we should always as a customer look into it.
Right. Now, last financial year, like I said before, the numbers were great. You also sold properties worth 1,080 crores, right? Now, what percentage of the sales comes from real estate agents?
I would say about 60 to 65%.
So more than 50%.
Yeah,
so a
absolutely.
majority still comes from real estate agents.
Yeah.
Interesting. And what do you keep doing to, get agents to keep working with you?
So look, today the agents are also, there are so many projects, so many things. They have a lot to choose from. They have a lot to see from. But at the same time, what we constantly believe is in 2-3 things. A is continue with your commitment and trust. B is when you are bringing a project, it becomes easier for the channel partner to market your property because your brand value has been is actually a little better than probably around or someone who's doing. So if you can create your brand value, if you can create that, and brand value I would say just is not marketing or showing something great. It's actually believing and seeing what you've delivered or given. So if you give a great product with no complaints, with no technical or legal issues, or probably you give them on or before time, and there is no hassle for once committed on the pricing, no changes coming in. I think if you look at these parameters, it helps you create your brand value, and it helps you bring, because today your customer will talk to 10 of his friends or 15 of his friends that I had a smooth journey with a developer. I had no problem during construction. I was given on time, जो बोला था वो दे दिया, कोई भी दूसरा एक्स्ट्रा पैसा नहीं मांगा, जो भी मतलब जो डिसाइड हुआ था, everything. If all those parameters work and you give a great quality, give a good after sales services, I think you're sorted to become a great brand.
Right. Now, if you could change one government policy, right, regarding in Mumbai real estate, right? Let's talk about Mumbai real estate. If you could change one government policy to make Mumbai real estate better, what would it be?
There will be many, but I think the most important thing I would say is to bring in the ease of doing business. I think somewhere that is lacking a lot now, and we as an association are working and want to now take this up in a very, very serious way.
Right.
To bring in those approvals, today you have to take
Absolutely.
140, 150 approvals.
It's ridiculous.
Why? Can we
ridiculous.
not now, I'm just simply saying today a government has given the biggest, most important data of us is our passport. Right? Today who is issuing our passport? A private company.
Right.
It's not government which is issuing. Well, government is doing a signature.
Right.
But who is issuing it? The process has been done by a private company. Right. Aadhaar card has been done by a private company.
Right.
Why can't we do this same approvals to, like the TCS of the world or the Infosys of the world or whatever? Why can't we just give them? It's an AI driven process now, a completely tech driven process.
Do you think that will be privatized? Because it's a paradigm shift for all officers.
We should. I'm saying you should have a competition. The moment you have competition, your approvals will come very, very fast. You don't require 140 approvals.
Right.
I feel you can get away and do it with 10, 15 approvals.
You know,
And
a very interesting thing. I was talking to some college students, right? And I met them in a seminar, right? In a real estate seminar, and I got into conversation with one 22-year-old guy, and he's like, "Look, my father's into real estate and stuff, and I'm a civil engineer, and what should I do?" So I asked him, "Aren't you going to get into? Aren't you going to become a builder as well?" He's like, "No, I don't want to become a builder at all." I'm like, "Why? You're a civil engineer. You have some background." He's like, "Mayank, it'll take me 4-5 years to complete one building, and maybe 2.5, 3 years to just go run around the government offices to get approvals. Mayank, in tech, there are players who've become unicorns in 5 years." And that really hit me actually. I'm like, yeah. He's like, 2 साल इधर उधर भागूंगा, सब देखूंगा. So what I realized is a lot of youngsters don't want to enter real estate only because of this reason. With the whole government approval process, it's very intimidating for most youngsters.
So yeah, see, with the way now these youngsters have seen lives, things becoming so fast, and it is not, everything is tech driven. And that is where I say that, okay, back in those days, it was okay for us as developers to go and wait a year, 2 years to get those approvals. But these youngsters will not want to wait, or whether, and they should not, forget youngsters, but I think with the coming time, I think it is high time that we try to rationalize all of these. And when we rationalize all of these, I think real estate, see, ultimately, whatever said and done, today, what agriculture is to the rural economy of India, it contributes the biggest, agriculture is the biggest contributor to the rural economy of India, right? I mean, real estate is to the urban economy. Today,
absolutely.
Today, directly, indirectly, we contribute to more than 30-35% of GDP.
Right.
And, there are 270 industries which are directly, indirectly linked with real estate. And that much of job employment is done, that much of, so much of expansion happens because of real estate. So you can't shy away with real estate. For everything and anything what you do, there will be some bit of real estate will come. Even if you're a tech company, you'll require an office to start working, right? Or a home to work. You can't work in
shelter.
Near.
You need a house.
Kuch to chahiye
necessity,
aapko.
Absolute necessity.
So see, real estate is very important. So that is where I say that when you are such an integral part of your economy, it should be, in a way done that it eases out, today if I have to look everywhere today, when you look at, obviously, projects in London, it takes 2 years for the approvals to come. But after that, it is easier. So, and there are options where somebody has worked for those 2 years and then sell you that project with a IODCC, कि अभी आप खाली उसको execute करो, right? We should, with the help of technology, with the help of so much of brain power what we have, and I personally believe with all our experience and might and push, ease of doing business is not something which we are asking, reducing our approvals to maybe 20, 30 out of instead of 140 is not a rocket science. You're not giving away your heart today. Maybe few are black sheeps. Everywhere, everyone has black sheep, but not all are. We have RERA for your checks and balances. You have GSTs where for all your checks and balances. I mean, there is no way, even if a good intended developer wants to do anything, he cannot. And why would anyone want to do, if everyone's working in the ambit of the structure and works into ensuring that, okay, मेरे को 4 FSI allowed है, मेरे को इतना open spaces छोड़ना है, then मेरे को जाके approval क्यों लेना, मैं वो design करता हूँ and I will certify it as from my architect that I am designing it as per the bylaws given. I'm not going outside my bylaws. If I'm not going outside my bylaws, why do I need to go and ask for the approval? You've published a bylaws, let the project happen on its own.
I think it just fits in the criteria the architect is given.
Absolutely.
It, why publish the bylaws otherwise?
Absolutely. So that's something which we feel it's the mindset which the government, and I personally believe the government wants to start looking at it in a better way.
So you think there is a political will?
There should be a will to take this up, and if that happens, I think it will be a dramatic shift in the way real estate is looked today and versus what it was. So I think this will bring down a lot of costs. This will bring down a lot of timelines. projects will be executed faster. There'll be a great supply which will come in. Competition will be at its best, and people will have that kind of today. If I have to look at the pension funds of the world or the mutual funds of the world or wherever we go to see, those assets are only today in London, New York. All those big buildings are being held by a fund.
Right.
It's not an individual which is
Right.
held. Today you tell me in the entire city of Bombay how many funds are holding buildings. Now thanks to this REIT, maybe 5, 10, 20, 100 buildings, but not thousands.
Right.
We need to come to those kind. Today when we have that kind of money power coming in, when we have this simplicity, a lot more supply will come, a lot more, and then it will be inclined towards those kind of somebody as a fund holding one building or buying that asset off and renting it out for a long term thing. I think it will be a very big dramatic shift.
Right. Now, speaking of funds, how do you generally fund your projects?
So we usually obviously we every project's finances are married to that. We are a very clear discipline about that.
Right.
The head office will fund in some bit of money which is required initially.
Right.
But after that, the project needs to get its cash flows from the sales or from construction finance or probably a tie-up because today, approvals are not being given by the construction finance company. So you need to do some fund tie-ups or whatever.
Right.
But whatever it takes, but primarily resources 50% should, or minimum 50-60 depending upon the project. If it's residential, then 50-60+% should come from sales.
Okay.
So and if it is commercial, then probably it may be 70-80% should come from funding, and then because usually large commercial places will have to be funded now and then sold at the time it is leased.
Right.
And then you probably do an LRD or something.
and right.
For refinance it, but that's how the structure model works.
Right. And at the company level, how should a builder raise funds at a company level? And one question is, do you think it's possible for a developer to grow without debt?
My straight answer is no.
No. Honest answer. Very
yeah.
honest,
And you should not. You should see debt. You should take.
Right.
If you want to grow, you should take debt, but you should be also disciplined, as we said, that marry the debt to that project.
Right.
If you keep that discipline well, I don't think you will have a problem, because market is good, sales are in a very good position today, and if you structure your entire project well, I don't think there will be a challenge. And with those kind of thing. So I obviously for your growth, because see today real estate is such a big capital intensive market. When today how is it possible that today I have to buy a land, and today a land in Mumbai is not cheap. You have to buy a land in it's an expensive
Right. Absolutely.
capital what you put in. Then you put in approvals are not given by construction finance companies.
Right.
So you have to put in approval. Today, as I told you earlier, cost of construction, the approval cost is higher than the cost of So you put in those approval costs. So 70% of your project cost or 80% of your project cost sometimes is that much money you require.
Now, and I think these premiums also, what they do is, apart from raising the property prices, of course, they probably kill your cash flows.
Absolutely.
So that's the first thing that you'll have to do.
So when your 70-80% of your project is the money if you need to put in as your equity, then how is your growth going to be possible?
Right.
So you need to have a partner along with it, but structure your funding in a way which will sail you through the project and ease out your cash flows and bring in your profitability what you require.
Right. Now, obviously, Ajmera Realty is a public listed entity on NSE. How and when did you decide to go public? That's my first question. Second is why? Because in real estate, a lot of entities are not public as of now. We've seen that especially in real estate because there are more compliances, you have to be more transparent. Do you see more developers wanting to go public now as the industry is getting more organized, or do people still want to stay private?
So there are two schools of thoughts, and we come from the other school of thought. One is we are a compliant developer, but we do not want to go public. We want to stay within our frame of mind. I don't want to disclose or probably give my data to the public at large, but I will still comply to be a developer with doing good projects, deliveries on time, everything correct. And there will be a second set of developer who would want to expand, who would want to grow, be in the public eye, give all the data transparently to everybody, and also at the same time raise money from the public, because public are going to ask you that kind of questions and you should be prepared to it. So we come from this thought, because now with RERA you are declaring most of it.
Absolutely.
Right? There's nothing which is left in a project not to be declared. And today with being listed, you are adding more, your growth, or probably you're expanding your market space with a different genre of people who come from a very number game, as compared to a normal public who's looking at a flat and a square feet, and these guys come with profit, EBITDA, and your ratios, and
more accountability.
Yeah, accountability, and the targets and all of that. So it's a thought process mindset per se, number one. Number two, the most important what we see is that when you come to a public market, you come in with a thought process that you're getting that kind of valuation which is not probably there or available for you in a private market. Unless you don't get that valuation, it makes no sense for you to come in public. So let's say if my land value and everything put together is 100 rupees, if I don't get maybe, and today those 100 with the aspiring profitability and all of that, sometimes you are valued at 500 or 300 or 400. Unless I don't get that delta above, it makes no sense for us to go in public.
Interesting.
So, and we came into public market in a very different space. We were a listed entity in our steel business.
Right.
And we merged some of our property into the real estate, or into the steel business. And then we demerged the steel and the real estate, and that's how we are.
Interesting.
So we didn't come through the right way. So that is where, today, with the kind of land banks and the assets and the projects, what we feel, we still kind of an undervalued company, and we feel we have a lot more potential to grow.
Right. Also, as a listed entity, does cost of capital from institution, the percentage or the interest rate also reduce?
Not really. It helps you in a way, because your ratings, you come in with the ratings and all of that. But it helps you in a way, but it's not like a significant difference. So, but primarily if your ratings are good, and if you are a listed entity, it adds a cherry on the cake. That is all I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I'm just very curious. What does an average usual day in Mr. Dhaval's life look like?
Well, it's quite. I'm somebody who can't be sitting very idle. So
we've seen that you've done the 70.3 triathlon in Barcelona, right? I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
Yeah.
The triathlon, right?
Triathlon,
you have to swim, cycle, and you have to run.
Yeah.
So, is that something that you're always passionate about?
I was, up until probably 18 years ago, I was not at all into fitness at all. And then one fine day I started, thanks to a few of our developer friends who were into running, and then I got kicked into running, and then I started running. I enjoyed running because it gave me my own space to think, my own time to be with myself and no one else. And slowly I started doing marathons, and then been doing, and then again then I was, there comes a time that ye bahut kar liya, abhi aage next kya. And then I'd heard about this triathlon and Ironman and all of that. And then again a developer friend of mine who's been doing great about this, he inspired me to take this up, and that's how I started doing it. And it obviously changes your thought process.
And how do you train for that Ironman?
Well, first time I trained a lot. I did 2 so far, but the first one when I trained, it was like a 6 month of rigorous training, 6 to 8 months of rigorous training, and doing at least 5 times a week hour and a half to 2 hours minimum every day. And
2 hours is intense. That's
yeah, so every day for at least 5 times a week, and sometimes weekends are 3 hours and 4 hours. So that's how the trainings were for those time. Second time was okay. Abhi aata hai, to usko you're polishing that. But obviously we're not champions. I didn't aim to be there, but I like this thing because I feel it helps me a lot as a human being. Forget health, obviously it is improving or probably helping in my health ways, but I think mind is something which, with the kind of stress levels what we go in as real estate developers, I think it helps you a lot in being composed, it being stable into your mindset, and it helps you declutter a lot of things. Your thought process clarity is way too better and
focused,
different.
you're healthy.
And you're focused,
And
you're
you're happy.
healthy, you're energetic, you're happy, you are ready to take on things head on without a challenge or something. So I love that, and I believe that, and I always believe that every one of us should be doing one sport, whatever you like. It can be anything, but because that sport gives you discipline, that sport gives you commitment, that sport gives you what do you call the fitness level. So these three, I think discipline and commitment is two important aspects for everyone in every business or every person. If you can get this knack, I think a lot can be achieved.
What would you have been if you weren't in real estate? What would you have been doing if you weren't in real estate?
I don't know if I've never thought about it, but sometimes probably I am not a great cook, but I think probably maybe some restaurants or something like that.
I think that's one thing that people have said is harder than real estate is a restaurant business.
Yeah.
People always say that it's very, very hard to do though.
I'm a foodie, so I like exploring new things. So I maybe would have been into some cooking or restaurants or something like that. But yeah, some lives have its own changes and things. But I'm happy in whatever I'm doing.
I've had a great time with you, and I think everyone who's watched this has definitely learned a lot about A, starting, and B, scaling, right? And I think you've covered everything beautifully, very, very, in a focused way. Like I feel like you're very, you know what you're talking about, and you know what you want from life, and you know what you want from your business.
Yeah.
So I think clarity is the right word. Yes, I think you spoke with a lot of clarity is what I kind of gauged from our conversation. Just one last question before we sign off is one word of advice for young developers who want to start.
I've always believed in this, and I said that whatever you do, like if real estate is for us as Indians, real estate is very, very emotional thing. How much ever balance sheets and assets and whatever we do it, money and Excel sheets are there, and you are here to make business and money, and you're doing it for profit, and you should do it. But most important thing I personally believe is that whatever you're working on, and maybe real estate primarily because I'm a developer, but otherwise also do it with passion. I think if you make your work your passion, a lot of things will be you will be looked at a very, very different eye. You will work with a sense of commitment. You will work with a sense of that fire to get that project, a fire to complete that project, or fire to get that great sales coming in. I think your thinking changes very, very differently. So my always sense is, and if you make real estate as your passion or your work as your passion, I think you'll enjoy much, much more, because मेरा बहुत ये क्लियर मानना है कि कोई एटलीस्ट मुंबई के रियल एस्टेट डेवलपर को हार्ट अटैक नहीं आ सकता है क्योंकि वो इतने पॉलिसीज में चेंज आते हैं, आज ये चेंज कल वो चेंज, तो वो सारे में they are immune to it. So heart attack is not a
stress handlers to another level.
So when you are going through so many changes in a workplace or your projects or whatever, I think there are two ways you look at it, positive and negative. Oh shit, I'm in a trouble, मेरे को ये हो गया, ये हो जाएगा. आई मीन बोलना आसान है, होता भी है, ऐसा नहीं है कि नहीं होता है, बट यही चीज़ को इफ़ आई लुक एट इट कि ओके इट्स अ चैलेंज, लेट्स एड्रेस इट एंड टेक दिस अप, हाउ डू वी overcome it. And if you work with passion, no, I think you will make real estate a different game altogether. And with the way the world is moving and with the way India is, I think forget us, but everyone who's into this business has so much of potential that we as a company are looking at growing 10 times from where we are today. And we feel that ये हवा की बात नहीं है, ये possibility है, reality है. We are a 55-year-old company. We have 16 people working in the business from family. We've delivered 45,000 homes. There is a brand value which we've created. Now it's the time for us to 10x, grow 10x, and then bring that, the trust. Today, any project what we we open up or do, we sell at a good volume, at a good intensity. So why not look at 20 projects coming in at the same time? And that's where we are looking at. So similarly, like us, because I am just not looking at khali because I'm Ajmera I can do it, because there is an inherent demand today from the market. And if all of us work passionately with the way things growing in straight, I think there's an immense work which is available for every developer, and the growth is exponential for India as such. So I think Indian economy, in real estate demand per se, these are the two underlying factors which are helping us as developers grow, and whoever can take that advantage passionately will change the company.
Right. People can see through the passion.
Absolutely.
Because eventually people go away, they die, but the structures always remain.
Yeah, you are making structures which will be your brand.
Yeah.
You're not making structures just for it. You're making structures which will be your brand, which will continue to stay forever. Today I'm just giving you as an example. If you look at Powai, today one thing which will resonate in your mind when you say Powai is Hiranandani, right? So that's the kind of thing which every developer is now doing it, and they should do it like that. So like when we say Wadala, we are very proud that people look at Ajmera Island as a that's been created. So that's something which we feel that you should create landmarks which will not only stay with you, but it will be a landmark for a city. We are trying to create cities or landmarks which will be on the icon of Mumbai being there. कि एक ही ड्रीम है कि जब आप मुंबई का कोई फोटो डाले और आपका प्रोजेक्ट उसके ऊपर हो, that's something you've created. So like today when we look at Dubai, you look at that Burj Khalifa tower as Dubai, right? When you look at New York, you will see probably the Statue of Liberty or the Empire State as a thing. If you can create some landmark like this and it made resonating as Mumbai, I think you've achieved something.
That's the legacy.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
I think I had an absolute blast with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Pleasure talking to you.